Hello guys, welcome back to the Eat Like Ruby podcast. I'm back today in studio with Georgia Mott. Hello Georgia.
Hello.
Waving, I love the wave. I think you're going to end up doing 4 episodes in a row.
I know, so get used to my voice.
You're a regular.
I hope I have a good podcast voice actually.
Too bad if you don't.
Yeah.
So G's here today because we are talking about wrapping up my muscle gain phase, and we're also going to record a second episode about setting up my fat loss phase. And I feel like they're going to just kind of roll from one to the next. There'll probably be some crossover. Some stuff might come up today and we'll be like, oh no, let's kind of talk about that more in the next one.
Yeah.
But really, I just want to summarize the gaining phase because it's been a really cool process, and I think so many people follow along and kind of want to watch how it plays out and learn. I think people follow from a perspective of wanting to do it themselves a little bit, but then also just wanting to watch how I do it and kind of getting caught up in someone's journey.
I think it's like not a super, well, I could be really like blanketing this right now,
No, but
like, it's not a
like
super common thing to do like intentionally.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And then we're going to record the setting up the fat loss one, which I think a lot of people love to just know, what am I doing? How is she doing it? And again, I think it's equal parts just interesting to hear, but then what could you take from that for your own journey?
And also someone like of your size who is like fit as you are.
What size are we talking about here?
As fit as you are, going
Big
into
dog
a
or-
fat loss phase.
Oh, yeah.
Like it is an interesting topic for someone who is already, like I know you're in a gaining phase, but you are fitter
No,
than
I know
the
what you
usual
mean.
pop.
Yeah, like most people would be like, you don't, quote, need to do a fat loss phase. Yeah, for sure.
Maybe I'll do one too.
Oh, shred. You're going to Bali. Shred for Bali.
Shred for Bali.
I
Maybe
feel
we should
like
shred together.
could
Does that
sign
mean I
you-
have to do that in 3 weeks?
I could sign you up to the fat loss phase. and
Really?
just deduct it from your pay. Perfect.
I could probably set myself up, but
For free.
I could probably put myself in there.
I just see you on the live calls asking a ton of questions. Ruby, I got a question.
Having a bit of a meltdown this week. How would you navigate that?
Oh, shit. Okay, we've spiraled already. But today is gaining phase wrap up.
Yeah, woohoo. I
Yeah.
have some pretty juicy questions to ask Rubes, but she's probably going to break it down as it is. And then if she misses anything, I'm going to ask her some that I'm sure we all would like to know.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
I feel like I don't even know where to start. Maybe we'll start with stats because I think people love the stats. So I did an episode not too long ago where I spoke about the fact that the wrap up was coming. Like I was nearly towards the end. I spoke a little bit about stats on that episode. But long story short, most people have followed along enough to know I spent the first 10 weeks of the year at maintenance, which was around 2,200 calories. I was weighing around 62 to 63 kilos at that time. Pretty good feedback and evidence that I maintained on that intake. And then early March, I started to really ramp it up. So all up, it'll be, I think I worked out it'll be 26 weeks clearly out of a deficit, which is cool. I love that. It'd probably even be a bit longer because pretty much when the wedding wrapped up last year,
pretty much.
she was done.
Yeah.
But that's really cool. I love that. And 10 of that at maintenance and then 16 in the gaining phase, which we've spoken about before is probably one of my more shorter gaining phases. Usually I would do closer to like 7 to 9 months.
Yeah, okay.
But
right.
I still feel like I've loved this one. It's been awesome. Back to the stats. I am wrapping up at around the 68 kilo mark. So it's about 6 kilos that I've gained, which I'm neither here nor there about. I didn't really have a weight goal. That's quite standard. I feel like I've wrapped up most of them around 67 to 69. So like previous gaining phases, I mean. So this is quite standard. I'm pretty on par. I would say for sure, just based off of pics, videos, and the way I'm feeling, this is the most muscle I've ever had on my body. And then when I think about that with being the same weight, I would say there's a little bit less body fat, which is cool.
Yeah.
And that's even interesting. We'll probably talk about this more in the next episode, but that's even interesting then to think about where will like the end of the fat loss phase be? What would the goal be? Because if you're a bit musclier, etc., like you might finish it a bit heavier than normal, but with a better physique, which is cool to think about.
Yeah, that is cool.
Yeah.
So you don't necessarily have, you didn't have like a mental weight in your brain that you wanted to hit.
No, not really. I kind of just knowing myself, and I think this is probably my fourth really intentional gaining phase, third or fourth. I've always known that. Well, this is probably even an interesting convo as well. I would say probably 2 years ago, I would have said my quote comfortable weight is around 60 kilos.
Yeah, okay.
I start to feel a bit thick, fluffy, fat, whatever you want to call it, around 65-ish.
Yeah.
And then I would kind of wrap up my gaining phase just a little bit heavier than that. But it's really interesting because kind of ties in with that last thing I was saying. I feel like my new comfortable weight is more like 62 or 63.
Yeah, right.
Whereas years ago,
stats are like the same.
that was more around like 59, 60.
Yeah.
And I think that's to do with shape change and muscle mass and everything, which is really cool. So then just thinking about that, like when I was eating at maintenance and starting to move into the gaining phase around the start of March, I was just like, okay, cool. I'm around the 63 kilo mark. I feel great. I feel awesome and I want to go for it. And I knew that I was looking at probably 4 months. Mm-hmm. And then I just thought, okay, if I was to have gained, like say if I was to have hit 70 or more, I'd be like, it's probably a bit of unnecessary weight gain happening there, Rubes.
Yeah, that was like one of my questions I had like written down. I was like, is that too far?
Yeah, and that's not like because it's 70. That's just like, I would say if you look at, it's more looking at say 4 months clearly in the gains. If you've done like 7 kilos in 4 months, you're not gaining that much muscle. So it's not a bad thing. If you just want to pack on a bit of weight, you can, but it's unnecessary. So for me, I'd say I've done probably 5 kilos in, what would that be? March, April, May, June. Yeah, so probably 5 kilos in 4 months, which there's never an exact, I think people find safety in exact numbers.
Yeah.
Like, oh, so it should be a kilo a month. Okay, perfect. And I'll make sure I'll do that. Yeah. And I think you got to kind of detach from that and just think more so about like, what is the point? What are you trying to do? So for me personally, I haven't watched weight that closely. I haven't watched measurements that closely, but I look at pics, I look at myself, I look at videos all the time. And it's like, is my physique moving in the direction that I want it to move?
Yeah.
And the thing about me is this is probably like not a lot of people could relate to this, but I'd say my testosterone is naturally higher than most females. So my gains show really quickly. So a lot of people like could do 4 months and not be able to see it as much as I can.
Yeah.
So then you might have to look at other things a little bit more closely. For me, it's like you can clearly look right now.
You're like
and go,
jacked right now.
Yeah, she's putting on muscle. That end. And that's all I do. I think obviously, like I said, if you're not in that position, you might have to look at other things or whatever. But when that's happening, I'm just like, okay, cool. You don't have to overthink it. Don't stress about the weight. Don't stress about the measurements, numbers, stats, all those things. Your goal right now is to gain muscle. You can look in the mirror and go, yeah, I'm gaining muscle. Cool. Keep doing what you're doing. Yeah. And if I was looking in the mirror going, I'm getting a little bit too fat, then I would obviously work with that too. So,
okay.
Yeah. You right there, mate?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, cool. I was wondering that before when we were sitting at coffee. I'm glad I didn't ask you. But I was like, is there a point where a gaining phase turns into like
a getting fat phase?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then do you have to be in, obviously you'd be in your deficit for longer after.
Yeah. And really that is it. I've spoken about that a little bit before, but obviously the harder you go and the more you pack on, if you want to get all that off, you've obviously got more work to do on the other side. The one thing I always say, especially to the muscle gain girls in Eat Like Ruby right now, is like coming back to your question of what did you say? How is there too much you can put on?
Yeah, is there too much? Like, is there a point where you gain too much?
I think when I was saying like a getting fat phase.
Oh yeah.
That's what triggered it. Yeah. Well, I said to the muscle gain girls in Eat Like Ruby, training intensity, consistency, technique, all of the things that we talk about with training is so insanely important in the gaining phase, because if you are eating more calories than your body needs and you're half-assing training, you are actually going to gain weight in a way that you don't want to.
Yeah.
And you've got to be so mindful of that, because I think people get excited. I think people get excited when they see what I'm doing. And then they're like, I want to be in the same position. She eats all this food. She's getting jacked, whatever. If you're not really fucking showing up to training, that food is going to still go into storage on your
Yeah.
body because you're giving it excess. If you're not providing the stimulus that you need to through training for it to go in the right places, it's going to go in other places.
Yeah.
And then you get to a position where you are like, I don't know, 3 or 4 months in and you're like, okay, cool, I've clearly been eating a fuck ton of food, haven't really been training that well.
Yeah.
You're probably not going to be in a position that you love being in.
Yeah. Not as of a effective fat loss phase after it.
You what?
Not as of an effective fat loss phase after
Well,
it.
just like,
What?
yeah, I'm like, where'd you go with this? Like you can still do your fat loss after it, but you're probably just not going to have the physique underneath that you think you're going to have.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm referring to my questions, guys. I wrote them down so I didn't forget.
Love it.
But
Hit me
are you
with it.
kind of dreading moving out of high calories and going into not eating as much?
Yeah, I love this question. No, I'm not. I feel like there's a few reasons. So I've spoken about this a little bit on Instagram and I've mentioned this before, but you get to a point where you're quite over it with the high calories. And food, like one of the most beneficial things from a muscle gain phase or just from a high calorie phase, I think, is the reduction in food focus. And I've seen this massively with my muscle gain girls, and it's really cool. Just when you're not on a restrictive diet, like most of the muscle gain girls in Eat Like Ruby are on about 2,500 calories, give or take. And they're all just like, food focus has really dropped as a result because you're not on this restrictive diet. So you're not in a restrictive diet mentality, and it's just really cool. So that's absolutely a thing for me where my food focus is so low, and this has been super common for me in the past. And this is funny to think about. People are going to laugh, but also if you think about everything I've said over the years, it actually is very true. I don't really like eating that much, right? And that's going to sound so stupid because obviously I'm Eat Like Ruby, but I like eating in the sense of if there's something enjoyable, an event or whatever happening, like if Shaq was like, do you want to go out for pizza? I'm like, okay, let's go out for pizza.
Yeah.
Yesterday I went to Yochi with Chloe.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's an event, or not an event, but like it's an enjoyable thing. The
Yeah.
food's good, whatever. I love food in that situation. And I love food in the sciencey way where like I love pre-training nutrition because it makes so much fucking sense. So I love it in that way, but I hate having to stop my day to eat. Like it pisses me off.
Yeah.
So
But that comes from more of like a hyper
like
productivity brain. Like I think
yeah.
you
And
just
I
like to get
think-
shit done and food's in the way.
Yeah, stopping to eat is in the
So
way.
it's like priorities.
Yeah, and I think it's funny because super off topic, but not really. The other week when we did the nutrition Q&A and we said about people can't stop snacking, and I think
Yeah.
it's a lack of fulfillment.
Yeah.
I think when you go the other way and you have a lot of fulfillment in other areas, your food focus comes way down. And if you think about a person who's at, let's say, like a 9 to 5 that they don't enjoy at all,
Yeah.
and they're very bored, like there's a lack of actual shit to do.
Yeah.
They're just hanging out for morning tea, and then they're hanging out for lunch, and then they're like,
So true.
what should we get in the afternoon?
Yeah.
Kind of vibes. If you're the opposite and you're busy and productive and you really love what you're doing, and I reckon if you can't relate to that in a work sense, think about those days around your house where you're like doing a massive job around your house and then you're like, fuck, I haven't eaten all day, right?
Yeah.
Because you've got something to do.
Yeah.
That is a game changer, and it ties in with what we said in that episode where when there's nothing to do and there's that void and there's that lack of fulfillment or whatever, you're just kind of like, what do I do? Oh, I'll have a snack. So I think when you're the opposite and you're like, we've been working our asses off
Yeah.
right
Yeah.
now. So to me, I'm like, I'm not stopping,
Yeah, I had lunch at 4 p.m. yesterday.
right? Because I'm working her to the bone. But I think there's really something in that. So for me, with the muscle gain phase, I can't remember I was saying this to someone the other day, but there's pretty much a whole extra meal in the day for me.
Yeah.
In the muscle gain phase, like because my calories have been about 2,700 for the last few months.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know they were that high. I thought they were like
Do
24.
you even follow on Instagram?
I do. I just, I'm just in the emails, man.
My name was like, Georgia Mott, unfollowed you.
27. I thought it was 24, 25. But anyway, yeah, 27 golf.
Yeah, so 2,700. And usually I train usually at some time in the morning.
Shit, that's bad for me.
So usually...
That's bad on me.
Why? Because you don't know how much I'm eating.
didn't know that. Don't your reels open up with like, what I eat for 2,700 calories?
Literally. Literally. Anyway.
Oh my God.
I usually train in the morning. Big pre-training meal, post-training meal, and that all will happen sort of before the like 10 a.m.-ish mark, let's say. Then I'll usually have the Eat Like Ruby bowl, maybe late morning.
Mm-hmm.
It's that next meal. So when like usually Eat Like Ruby bowl around maybe 11-ish. Mm-hmm. Having a meal around like 2 or 3, that's what gives me the shits. Like I don't want to stop then because usually I do eggs on toast at that time.
Yum.
Yeah. But my brain goes, fuck, just have a protein shake and keep going. But then I have to catch myself and be like, well, that's really counterproductive to your goals. So like it's stepping away from whatever I'm doing to go into the kitchen, cook eggs, whatever. That just pisses me off. I would rather not stop for that whole time or not have to stop and think about food and then just have dinner. So there's just this whole extra meal there where like I know your original question was like, am I nervous about dropping the cows?
Yeah, it sounds like you're quite excited.
I am. I am. You're like, because there's a fair few reasons for it. Like this is the main one. I'll piss off a whole meal. Like I'll change my schedule a little bit and a whole meal will come out, which is super exciting to me.
For time efficiency wise in her day. Yes.
Yeah. And the other thing is too, like well, this will probably come up in the next episode as well, but I was saying to Shaq the other day because he did the aggressive fat loss and like he loves food and he hates dieting and stuff. But I was saying this to him and he's like, yeah, that's actually so true. I was like, fat loss is so simple.
Yeah.
It's easy. And if you're a person who struggles with losing weight, I don't want to just be like, oh, fat loss is easy. But fat loss is easy in the sense of like my food shop is going to be half.
Yeah.
Like,
true.
my meal prep is going to be half. Everything is just massively reduced. So for a person that's doing a lot of other shit, I'm like, this is a huge win.
Yeah.
And I'll basically plan a day that really works for me and ticks boxes and I'll run that day for a long time and I might mix up a meal here and there on weekends or something or whatever, but it'll be very like this day works perfectly for me in terms of my goal. It works perfectly with my health and things I want to tick off and it suits my schedule. Let's fucking go. Right now I do the exact same thing, but in order to do that, I have to have that extra meal.
Yeah, okay.
And if we can't tell, it's annoying.
It's annoying her. Okay. So you're excited to go into less cows pretty much.
Yeah, I am.
From more of like a convenience.
And my meals will look so similar.
Yeah.
So there's no...
Just less.
Yeah. Because it's not like I'm eating like a fuckhead right now with like cake and burgers and all this stuff.
No.
So it's not like I'm like, oh, my shitty diet's about to start.
Yeah, right. I wanted to ask you this one. I kind of like kind of prepped her before we came in because I was like, I feel like Ruby, you're like from the outside looking in, you're like always fine. And even just as your employee, you're always fine. There's never really bad days. I feel like you have really great mental health. Mm-hmm. But I want to ask like how your mental health was like actually during the process of this gaining phase. Because I feel like we talk about a lot of mindset around gaining phase and like how you can, when you start seeing your body change and putting on extra weight and it can be like, oh shit, I don't like this. And you want to get out quickly.
Yeah.
Obviously you staying in it and you being so educated, but are there days where you're like not feeling the best physically?
Yeah. No,
that affects your mental, obviously.
Great question. Like have been so solid in this gaining phase in that sense. I feel like I always have been in previous ones because it's very intentional. And this is something I speak about heaps with my muscle gain girls. There's a very big difference between intentionally pursuing a gaining phase and feeling like a victim to weight gain.
Yeah, okay.
Massive, massive difference. And this is where I think a muscle gain phase is so empowering. And I see this with people that do it in Eat Like Ruby because for most women, we've like for our whole entire life have associated weight gain with being a victim. Not in a rude way. I'm not shaming people for that, but most people feel like they're a victim when weight gain starts happening. Yeah. When you intentionally do it, there's a massive shift. We're just like, fuck, I'm in control of this. Yeah. Like that's a really, really cool shift to happen. But I feel like that has happened for me years ago. Like that usually happens in the first or second time you do it. Yeah. So that's never been a huge thing for me. But one thing I've noticed to be different in this phase, and if you're a long-term follower, you might have noticed this too, in previous muscle gain phases, and I was thinking about this yesterday, I feel like there's a couple of things at play. I was almost like behind the scenes, like I didn't really bring it forward. Like I would say I'm in a muscle gain phase and I would sometimes do like day on a plate and that sort of thing. But physique wise, I'd never really showed my physique.
Yeah, okay.
And I feel like there was two things. One thing I was just thinking about yesterday is like we're thinking back 2 or 3 years now. Reels and shit like that weren't as common.
Yeah.
So Instagram was very like infography, static kind of. So that just wasn't as common as it is now.
Yeah.
But there was also just a big thing for me. I almost used to go into a gaining phase and just be like, fuck, I just got to get this done. So I wouldn't really buy, not that you should buy different clothes, but if you can, you want to, whatever. I wouldn't really like buy certain clothes to make me feel good, or I'd very much just be like, I'll just fucking put on trackies, grind this out, get it done, stay behind the scenes, and then I'll come back out of hiding when I'm shredding.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Whereas this time around, I don't feel like I've done that. Even literally on, I think it was Monday or Tuesday morning, I filmed like physique update, and I had just gotten back from mum's birthday and like untracked 4 or 5 days. I think I weighed in at 69 kilos on that day. Yeah, just like artificial weight from, big weekend. That like 2 years ago, no way would I have gone crop top short shorts and filmed on that day.
Yeah.
So I just think that that's been a cool realization for me to be like, yeah, I'm just in a different mindset with that. I feel like I'm just, I don't like the word embracing. I feel like it's kind of corny, but like, yeah, for lack of a better word, like just embracing all parts of it. And I just feel like it's, what was your question? Do I have bad mental health days? Yeah. I just feel like I don't, because if I have a moment
Probably the word's like insecurity. Like, do you ever feel like, were you feeling insecure in any point of the 26 weeks?
No, I wasn't. I would have moments of being like, I'm clearly bigger than I was 3 months ago.
Yeah.
But it was so I'd say there was just no emotion there whatsoever. I would borderline laugh it off and just be like, you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Just
I
back
say
yourself.
that with like so honest, because years ago I probably wouldn't have been like that in my first muscle gain phase.
Yeah.
So it's probably taken a while to get there, but just so.
I think too, you have people around you who like understand your goals too. I think too, people can
really give a fuck what anyone thinks.
I know, but what I'm saying,
not in a smart assy way, but like,
I mean more if there's someone in a muscle gain phase that has people around them that might not understand their goals.
Yeah.
I reckon that could encourage insecurity more, because they're like, I'm doing it for a reason, I swear. I'm getting bigger for a
trying
reason.
to justify it.
Yeah.
Yeah, true. Yeah, that makes sense. Probably because I am so vocal about it, so like everybody knows.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I just think, it was all so intentional, so structured, so there was there was no bad days with it. It was just like literally very neutral, and I would be like I said, I know what I'm doing, and also the time is coming.
Yeah.
Like you know what you're doing.
So leading into my next question is, do you think another gaining phase is in the future?
That's so funny that you asked that, because I feel like my toxic trait is being so organized that by the time shit comes around, I don't want to do it anymore.
Right. Okay.
So
we are
I've
planned into
been-
2027, so that makes sense.
My funeral's planned. No, I'm dying. No, I feel like I'm just an organized person, and I'm always sort of planning and stuff. And I've been super mindful of that in this phase, to think, don't say anything that like, I definitely will do this after, I definitely won't do that, or whatever. Because it actually pisses me off to think that last year I said I wouldn't do a deficit, and then I fucking got married and did a deficit. Like, that shits me. So, I don't want to say I definitely will or I won't. At this point in time, I'll say when I look at, because my fat loss phase will almost like it would take me towards the end of this year. And then I always just like to kind of chill around the end of the year and not really do anything too crazy unless I'm getting married. So it's more so probably looking at next year. Right now, when I think about next year, I would love to spend most of the year at maintenance and just focus on training and maintaining. At this point in time, no plan to do like a big dog gain again.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And then so moving into your next fat loss phase, or into your next phase being fat loss, are you doing anything specific? So we're about 3 weeks out from when
I feel like we haven't mentioned. So
Yes.
we're recording on June 14th.
So we're about 3 weeks out from Ruby starting her fat loss phase, as well as all the other girls starting their fat loss phase. So in these 3 weeks, are you doing anything specific to kind of set yourself up for a good start? Because I feel like we mentioned earlier this morning, people can kind of be like,
My diet's coming. I'm going to eat like a dickhead.
yeah. Like it's balls to the walls.
Yeah, with shitty habits until the good ones start.
Yeah.
Is that what you mean?
Yeah, there's some crazy vocab in there. Balls.
We live for the crazy vocab. So I'm definitely not doing dumb shit. I'm so... That's actually probably one thing that's been really reflected to me in this gaining phase as well, is my genuine, I don't know what the word is, commitment to good food quality. So I've been my food quality is so good, and it's like literally ingrained in my subconscious. I'm just like, if I could have a 2,700 calorie day of shit food or of good food, like I'm never choosing that shitty quality food option.
Yeah.
And that's not to say, like, we all know I eat Nutella, I'd go out for pizza or whatever, but just in terms of planning a day, if I'm planning a normal average day, like my habits are so like veggie, fruit, whole grain, calcium, protein, like ticking boxes. So I'll just carry that right through, and I'll carry that right through into the fat loss. I should make like I feel like it would be really cool to do an infograph of my gaining diet and my fat loss diet, because you guys are going to see that the foods are so fucking similar.
Just less.
It'll just be like remove unnecessary shit and then, like you said, less. So yeah, I'll just carry
because
that
you
right
like
through.
to eat what you like to eat. As we talk about this all the time, it's like it doesn't have to be different. Like if you like eating certain things that tick those boxes, why change it?
It's funny to think I'm going to pull probably 1,200 calories out of my day.
Yeah,
we'll talk about that next week.
That's wild.
But one thing I am doing, this is interesting, and I think people could relate. Oh, I don't know. This could just be me. I haven't really been watching my steps for this whole gaining phase, because they'll be anywhere from like 7 to 12,000 in a day. And it just depends on if I walk Nutella or Shaq walks Nutella, like if I go to the shops, different shit like that. But if they're 7, I'm totally fine. If I have a random day at 12, I'm like, yeah, cool, whatever. Like, and I actually didn't wear my watch for like a month.
I think that's really impressive, because for someone that works from home, I think that's like pretty impressive that you're averaging 7 to 12 every day.
Oh,
100%. Like, I feel like heaps of people listening that either like work a desk job or work from home, getting your steps up is actually like pretty difficult to do. Yeah. So that's pretty impressive. I feel like if you're working at any sort of like physical, like, I don't know, hospitality, cafe or a gym, stuff like that, it's easy. Like when I was working in gyms,
same.
I was doing like 18,000 steps a day.
Yeah.
What?
I know. And hospo, like people that work in hospo.
Yeah. And then when I switched to an office job, I was like 1,500 a day, maybe. So being conscious of that is nuts, especially working from home. Yeah.
Well, I walk Nutella most mornings. Yeah. I'm trying to get his fitness up. So,
dude, he's lean.
He's literally had 2 airway surgeries. I'm like, you're not having a third. We're working on these little lungs, man. So yeah, we're slowly building his walks up.
Sorry, I interrupted. Keep going.
No, that's fine.
Steps up.
Yeah. So I wasn't really aiming for anything, but I will aim for 12,000 when I go into the fat loss phase. And I'm super mindful. This is what I don't know if is it just me or other people can relate. When I go from low steps to like do a big 180, go for high steps, by like the 3rd or 4th day, I'm like shin splints, sore calves, blisters.
Yeah, right.
So many things where I'm like, I probably should have conditioned my body to this change in steps a little bit more. Even Easter, because I was in the gaining phase when it was Easter, and I was getting up every morning and going walking at Alex.
Yeah.
And by like Easter Monday, I'm like, okay, I can't walk today. I've got crazy blisters happening here.
Yeah, right.
So, because it's just like a big change.
Yeah.
So I'm mindful this week I've been aiming for 10,000 every day.
Okay.
Just to like sort of warm my body up to it. And just, so far so good, guys.
So you're still making good choices for the next 3 weeks. You're upping your steps by like 3K.
Yeah, like I'm just, and just watching them as well.
Yeah, okay.
Because like I said, there was probably a month to 2 where I didn't even really wear the watch. So they could have been 1,500.
Yeah, right.
But like I'm always kind of doing the same shit. So I know where they roughly sit.
I'm going to ask about steps in our episode for next week.
Okay.
Because I have a good question, I think.
Oh, I love it.
So yeah, if you want to know it,
stay tuned.
In 7 days' time, you'll get it. Okay, cool. So you're staying consistent, making good choices, ticking the boxes, upping your steps a little bit. Is there anything else that you're doing for preparation?
No, I think that's probably it. Just staying off the caffeine. Are
you going to bring... Oh, I'll ask it next week.
I can't wait.
Are you going to bring it in?
Yeah.
Shh. I'll ask it next week.
That's basically the reason I'm going into the fat loss phase.
Yeah, right. That's exciting. That's really exciting for you.
You got no idea.
Yeah, that's really exciting for her. Do you get the shakes from it ever?
No. I mean, I probably make it sound like I smash 10 coffees a day.
Like
I
2?
don't. I do normally like a pre-workout-y caffeine thing and then an actual coffee.
Yep.
Yeah, that's it.
Still,
I just love it.
it's been absent.
Yeah, we'll talk about that more next week.
Yeah, we will. They're like my 5 juicier questions.
Oh. Love it.
Like I've knocked them all out of the park.
Yeah.
You've kind of answered a lot of them.
Yeah.
So I wanted to make sure you covered them.
So I'm looking at the reel I posted the other day, and this is what I was talking about with weighing the 69 kilos and filming on that day. I don't know if it's going to yeah, you can see it. And
You
then
can pop it up on the screen.
it goes
for the
back to me at
viewers.
the end. Yeah, there she is. She's a big dog. And if you don't watch on YouTube, well, bad luck. But I said, okay, let's read the caption and then we can see what we want to pull from that. Because I've been doing like building my best body ever, right? Building my best body ever isn't happening by hope, luck, or wishing. We all know this. We all know how I feel about the hope, right? Explained. And then I had a very clear plan from the get-go. 1, learning the peak amount of food my body could maintain weight on. So we've spoken about that so much. That was like really important to me because I just wanted to really see where that was because I hadn't really done that for a long time. Number 2, spending a lot of time doing tedious ab exercises, rehab, mobility, and recovery to prepare my body for a heavy lifting program. This is cool. And this is something I don't say this often because I just don't like to sound lame, but this is something I'm so proud of myself for because it was probably around November last year before the wedding where I was like, I definitely want to do a muscle gain phase. I'm going to rip in whatever. And I really reverse engineered, and we all know I'm a big fan of the reverse engineer. And I just thought, what do I want that training to look like when that time comes? What do I need to do now to be able to do that? And I was like, I wasn't inconsistent, but I wasn't crazy consistent with ab training, with like rehab stuff. I've obviously had like hip injuries, things like that. So since November and still to this day, I have been so insanely consistent with abs, rehab, stretching, mobility. I progressed through the most boring, tedious ab program for about 12 weeks, just knowing that if I wanted to be able to do bigger, better shit, I had to be able to do the basics first.
Yeah.
So it's really just like laying the foundations again. And like I said, I'm so proud of that because I think people just tap out from boredom and then they like quote start again and then they tap out again and start again. And you kind of want to get to bigger and better shit and you never do because you don't sort of do the work to get there. Or people try and jump straight into that bigger, better shit, get injuries, it's too hard, whatever. So I'm just so proud of the way I've really progressed my training. And I think I might have even said it here. Maybe further down. But then I had moving to a heavy lifting program after 3 months of doing the above. So we've spoken heaps about my training recently. We don't need to talk too much about that. Moving to an intentional calorie surplus and actively pursuing muscle weight gain. I feel like that's all we've spoken about for weeks.
Yeah, but it's because they are in phases. This is like a mini like accomplishment, which is like a cool feeling.
Yeah.
before you go into something that's going
Oh,
to.
I'm fucking stoked.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm so
which
stoked
can be
on
super
myself.
encouraging, I think, for someone who is thinking about it, doing it. It's not all doom and gloom. Like when you get to the point where you're going to be in 3 weeks' time before you rip into a fat loss phase, that point before you go in, it is like an accomplishment, and it is like impressive that you've been able to stick to a high calorie, intentional, like
Discomfort, like a level of discomfort.
it's uncomfortable for you.
Yeah.
And then a fat loss phase can be uncomfortable to a degree because like there's days where you're extra hungry.
Just, like challenging. Like adherence can be challenging.
But yeah, it's like an accomplishment before you do the big one.
What you were saying kind of ties in with the next point I had here. So point number 5 was cultivating the strongest mindset I've ever had to remain neutral and not affected by emotions. So there's no bad days, fat days, or want to change my whole plan days, which is, so I'm so stoked with that. Being completely neutral with people on the internet saying it's easy for you, you're naturally in shape, you're lucky, you already have a great body, why are you doing this? This is funny to talk about because...
Wow. I did not know that.
What?
That people said that.
Oh
like I knew a little bit, but I didn't know it was to that extent.
All the time. I literally got the other day, normal people can't eat like you, Ruby. So fun fact, guys, I'm apparently not normal.
What the heck? What, in the DMs?
On a comment on a reel.
Oh, wow.
Normal people can't eat like you, Ruby.
Do you clap back?
With a fuck off, yes.
Yeah. Do you ever comment back?
Nah, not really. I can't be bothered.
I gotta monitor that.
I can't be bothered. Yeah, because there's so many things you could say to that.
That's wild that they're just out there on their profile doing that.
Oh, yeah. And that, I mean, that's the thing. It says more about someone than it does about me.
Yeah.
Like, what is your life? But remember when we did that one? This was funny because this was literally fucking 6 seconds where we picked up the tray of the Nutella and we're like, gaining phase starting, like, Paul, your gaining phase starts soon. 6 second reel of us in Woolworths, me picking up like the tray of the Nutellas.
Yes.
Gaining phase starts soon. The amount of, so what, your fucking gaining phase is just full of eating shit. People, someone wrote like a little asterisk, don't eat like Ruby. Yeah.
Dogs. Sorry.
Yeah, crazy. And it's like, the thing that I think about there is, it's literally a drive-by shooting. Like you obviously don't listen to the podcast. You don't read anything else. Like I've literally probably said 1 million times in my life, there's no right or wrong. I've sat here and given like insane amounts of education on all these things. And then you just get one person that's like, don't eat like Ruby. Okay, well, don't. Fuck off.
Yeah.
Like you can't.
Yeah. It's all
they don't know what's up.
Projection, isn't it?
One hundo.
Yeah.
So people definitely kind of rip in with these things.
But whether you're in a muscle gain or a fat loss phase, you get the same shit.
You're going to get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And really, like, you're naturally in shape. Well, no, I'm not. I'm fucking 10 kilos fatter than I've ever been. Like,
yeah.
And, you're lucky. Why am I lucky?
Yeah.
Like, okay.
You work for it. You've actually done this on purpose.
Yeah. And then, you already have a great body. Why are you doing this? And then I wrote, my why is so strong. Building my best body ever isn't just about physical appearance. It's about laying the foundations of wicked strength, mobility, and muscle mass to move through life as best I can. So that is so true because, like I said, I will do the tedious exercises, the repetitive shit, the rehab shit, whatever, to actually lay the foundation of wicked strength, which I just think is so, I think that's so important. And I think when you've had injuries or like experienced lack of training or not being able to train and things like that in your life, you have a whole nother respect for that sort of shit, I reckon.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think fit people are allowed to have goals.
Oh, 100.
Fit people are allowed to say, like I say all the time, I want to shred like 3 kilos off. They're like, where from? I'll fucking show you.
Yeah.
Like,
literally.
Like I think, yeah, you're not allowed to, if you're classified as being fit or skinny or not overweight, you're so crucified for wanting to better yourself. Well, in your eyes, it's bettering yourself. It is bettering yourself. But in other people's eyes, it's like, it's just provokes insecurity in other people.
100%. Yeah. Because you're going from good to great and they can't get to good. That's not my fault.
That's great.
Yeah. Like,
great.
I'm not going to stop myself from going to great because you can't even get to good.
Oh my God. I can just imagine people listening to this in the car on the way to work and they're like, fuck yeah, I'm getting to great.
Exactly. This is the thing. The people that if you heard that and thought, fuck off, Ruby, that's absolutely fine. You can leave. You can fuck off, right? Because the people that hear that and go, oh my God, yes, she's on, and they turn up the volume and then they fucking join the training membership or whatever they want to join. That's like, there are people that will be activated and inspired, and there will be people that will be triggered. Anytime you're triggered, that's a you thing. So nothing but love and respect, go off and work out your own triggers. Honestly.
No.
That's so true though.
It is true. It is true. You just have the balls to say it.
I do. I told you I got high testosterone. And then I said, it's about building a mindset that can sit in discomfort, handle projections, have resilience, and commit to things that take a lot of time, patience, and work. And that's actually probably one of the most things that I'm most proud of, and I get really proud of with my girls as well, is the patience. Because in the gaining phase, there's not always reward. And like I said, especially if you're a person whose physique doesn't show it as quickly as others, you know, if you get into a really effective deficit and you're just dropping weight and things are good, there's a lot of like, I did the work and the result is clearly here.
Yeah.
So when you're in the gaining phase, you need to have a lot more patience, because that's not just happening day to day.
But surely you can like channel those wins into like how much you're lifting. Because surely you're like lifting like a lot more. You're not feeling so weak, you could say.
Yeah. And what did I say here? It's about doing that work every single day, so that when my head hits the pillow at night, I think, fuck yes, go me, I'm freaking doing it.
Yeah, good stuff. Mic drop.
Yeah, I'd say that's a mic drop. I'd say that's a wrap up.
Yeah.
Any follow-up cues?
No, I'm feeling like
Pumped
I should be
to
going
get on the
into
muscle gain phase?
Yeah, I feel like I should be in a muscle gain phase after Bali.
And then you'll be like, it's summer, not happening.
Yeah. I feel like maybe I've done a little bit of an unintentional between the two Balis, so I need to like get it together.
I feel like that's super common though. Just the little winter thicken up.
Yeah.
You look great though.
Thanks. Yeah, my biceps look good. Guys, go, if you're not watching this on YouTube and you're watching this on Spotify, go look at the thumbnail for the training cues. Pretty proud of my biceps.
Me sits in the fucking gaining phase for 6 months. Georgia flexes once, and we all hear about it.
Okay, you can wrap it up.
So thanks, boss.
Yeah.
That is the wrap on the gaining phase. I'm stoked. It's done. It's cool.
Woo-hoo!
The last thing I want to do is shout out my muscle gain girls in Eat Like Ruby, because they're absolutely killing it. They don't get enough shout outs because we always talk about the fat loss phase. Yeah. But we've got 12 girls in the gaining phase. Yeah. And
how far off do they have?
They will be pretty much halfway, because they're running on the same time frame as 2 fat loss phases.
Yeah, okay.
So for the April and the July fat loss phase, they were running, because they're doing 5 months, 20 weeks. Yeah. Which that in itself, massive commitment.
That's
it's really
huge.
cool.
Yeah.
But they are all such just like box ticking doers.
Yeah.
Like they're just doing
they're quiet,
the thing.
just doing
they're
their thing.
so quiet. But then we do a fortnightly assessment of just stats, pics, everything. Where are you at? Are we adjusting anything? Every assessment, just every fucking box is ticked. Nailed it, feeling good. They're all super open to upping the calories, like within reason, but that's really cool. And I think that's even just a credit to us, and by us I mean me, for honestly, I think the education that we've given over the last 12 months with like the convo we just had, and so many convos we've had about muscle gain, performance, toning up, all of these things, mindset, I think you see all of them kind of edge into something, and then they're like, oh, but I remember when you said that happened to you, or I remember you said this is how you deal with that.
Oh, that's nice.
So I feel like they really take it all in, and they're kind of going through that muscle gain process. But then if something comes up, they're like, Rubes has spoken about that.
They're really Eat Like Rubias.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
They're really cool. So they're about halfway. They're killing it.
We should go for a lunch with them.
They literally live all across the country.
I know. I can make it happen. I'm pretty good.
Random. Guys, apparently we're going out for lunch. But yeah, shout out to the muscle gain gals. Shout out to me. I've done it.
Yeah, go you.
Whoop, whoop. We will do like a final wrap up reel, because obviously we're a little bit.
It's where I come in. It's where the whole us is.
Yeah. And be my physique. George is editing. Not of the physique, of the real. Yeah. Can you just crop me down a little bit? No, so we'll do like a final wrap up on the gram because obviously we still do have about 2 more weeks until I actually make the switch. But when this episode comes out, it'll be switching time.
Yeah.
She's on.
It's exciting.
Yeah. And then obviously our next fat loss phase is starting. I feel like by the time this episode comes out, it's too late.
Yeah, you got to be in it. Sorry.
Yeah.
You should have been in it last week.
But if you're sitting there thinking shit.
I might be able to pull some strings.
No,
Absolutely not. Don't listen to what they said.
No, because what I'm going to say is we have something cool coming.
Oh,
do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know what you're talking
If
about.
you're like, oh my God, I missed out on the fat loss phase, and or you're someone that's like, I've been thinking about doing it, I can't decide, I might not. If you're someone that has hesitated because of price,
this is for the biggest one of the year as well.
Watch this phase. We have so we've got a fat loss phase starting in literally 2 days. We have the final one for the year happening after that. And we have a big announcement coming.
It's the biggest one of the year.
I think
biggest announcement ever.
Yeah, we don't do this. I think we're announcing next week.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
To give people notice and they can get organised.
Get
and
their
then
finances in check.
the biggest, it's going to be the biggest fat loss phase. It's on. Yeah, the final fat loss phase of the year.
If you're not in it, get it. I might even get in it too.
It's actually not open yet, guys.
Yeah, it's not open.
But what if you've been umming and ahhing about the fat loss phase, stay tuned, watch Instagram, listen to the pod, whatever. There's something coming for you. That's a wrap.
Yay.
We'll be back next week with my
Thanks
own
for having
fat
me.
loss phase prep.
We'll chat then.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.